Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit of technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets. And guys, in today's video, I specifically want to address the people in the cryptocurrency market who have lost faith in Bitcoin, the people who think that Bitcoin is going to go to zero or are going to break $3,000 and is never going to recover, the people who are worried about Bitcoin, the people who are concerned about Bitcoin, the people who are thinking about leaving Bitcoin, the people who have just taken one too many losses ever since the all-time high in 2017. Perhaps you got in the market after the all-time high in 2017 and you're just getting really tired of waiting for a new bull run. In today's video, I want to address everyone who is concerned about the Bitcoin market and worried that Bitcoin is not going to recover, because I promise you that it is going to recover and things are looking very, very bright for Bitcoin in the short term and in the long term, and we're going to be discussing all of that and more in today's video. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, definitely consider dropping a like, hitting that subscribe button, and smashing the notification bell, guys. And before we get into it, I also want to mention that I've gone ahead and extended the Valentine's Day Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy sale another 24 hours. In yesterday's video, the coupon code was not in the description, so a couple of you guys were having trouble with that coupon code. Check the description of this video. The coupon code will be down there. Just copy paste that in at checkout and you'll get 20% off of CT2A. Anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit more later on in the video, but without much further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. I'll do a little bit of short-term technical analysis in the beginning of the video, and then we're going to jump into the main point of today's video. As we can see here, we have Bart Simpson right here looking like he's wearing one of those raccoon hats with the little tail coming out, and we see that Bitcoin has been moving up gradually over the last couple of hours up towards this downtrend of resistance that Bitcoin has been under for the last week or so. And a lot of people have seen this and been kind of concerned that Bitcoin is going to break bearish and are worried about what might happen if Bitcoin does break bearish. Now, while I've said that I'm ever so slightly more bearish on Bitcoin with this little move, I'm basically 50-50 right now, guys. This can break either way. There's a lot of technicals pushing us down. There's a lot of technicals pushing us up. So my new official stance is I'm not really going to call this because it looks like there's a little bit of a chance that we're going to break bullish out here. Perhaps even that we're going to break bullish out here. That we're going to break bullish out of here in the next couple of hours before this video even goes live. But a lot of you guys have also been concerned about the fact that Bitcoin has just been trading down and down and down and down and down, sideways sometimes, but for the majority of the time down. We've seen Bitcoin do nothing but move to the downside, and then after we saw a little pump, we continued moving down. And now after we've had this little pump, we've continued moving down, and people like me have been talking about the potential of it moving even further down. And that's not exactly what a lot of people want to hear. And I completely understand that, because 2018 was a brutal year, especially if you guys are new to markets. Now, I got into the cryptocurrency space way, way back over here. It's not really that old. I mean, there are plenty of people in the cryptocurrency community who have been here longer than I have. I got in the market back over here on the 31st of June, 2017. So you can see I've been in the market for about this long. So I saw the majority of most of the actual price action that led up to 2017's all-time high. And I've been here for the entirety of the bear market. All the way down, I've seen Bitcoin come down here and set a floor down around $6,000. I've seen Bitcoin break it and bounce and go down. So guys, after you've been in a market for a long time, what you're going to realize is that price action just doesn't really mean anything. And now, what does that mean? That doesn't really sound all that... That doesn't sound like it makes a whole lot of sense on the surface level coming from a technical analyst like myself and a trader and an investor. But what you'll find after you've been in a market for a long time is that short-term price action doesn't really matter. Now, this is especially true for people who have been in the market for 10 years, who have been in stock markets for 10 years, for example. People who have been in the cryptocurrency market for 6 or 7 years. If you've been trading Bitcoin for 6 or 7 years, you can probably tell people in the comment section down below how true this is. These short-term swings, and by short-term swings, yes, I do mean the entire 4 years that it took for Bitcoin to go from one all-time high to the next. Those short-term swings don't mean a whole lot, because you realize that if it happened once, it's going to happen again. And if you watch yesterday's video, I talked about why the bear market that we're in right now looks almost identical to this bear market over here, which, by the way, was followed by one of the biggest bull markets across any market on the entire planet, bar some altcoins who were doing really well. Bitcoin for 2016 and 2017 outperformed just about every single stock in the world by a massive, massive margin. Bitcoin did crazy things in 2016 and 17. It ran well over 20 times, depending on where you decide to use the starting value for it at $200 or what. But the point is here is that Bitcoin and markets are cyclical, and markets will tend to do the same thing over and over and over and over again. It just so happens that I got into the market at the end of one of those bull cycles. We were getting close to the tail end of the bull market, and these first 6 months I was kind of learning what I was doing. I was learning technical analysis. I was getting invested, and I made some money over here. I did pretty well for myself, but then we hit all-time high, and we started going south. And at the beginning of this bear market, since this was my first bear market, I was thinking, okay, well, we're going into a bear market now. I'm not going to be able to make any money. I'm just going to go into hibernation and start and do whatever for the next couple of years until Bitcoin starts a new bull market. And that was a little while after I started the YouTube channel. The first video went up on November 16th, right over there. This is how old the YouTube channel is. But nevertheless, I was kind of thinking, you know, bear market, Bitcoin's going down, crap. And I think that's what a lot of people have thought in perhaps a few more words than that. Bitcoin, bear market, I'm invested, crap. Those 4 words right there kind of summarize what I think a vast majority of the sentiment is around Bitcoin lately. And by lately, I mean over the last 13, 14 months or so. But it really doesn't have to be that way, because another thing that you learn when you've been in markets for a long time, and you don't even have to be in markets for a long time to realize this, it's just something that you will eventually realize if you haven't already, is that markets going up and markets going down, markets rallying and markets crashing, doesn't actually affect how much money you can make in the market. Let me say that again, because that is something that people just, it takes them aback whenever I say that. Whether a market is going up or whether a market is going down, it doesn't really affect how much money you can make. Now, it does affect it a little bit, because if Bitcoin runs from $3,000 to $20,000, and that's what, a 600% return. But if Bitcoin runs from $20,000 to $3,000 and you're shorting, you're not going to get a 700% return unless you're using leverage, which is why people especially like using leverage when they're shorting. But that kind of leads into the point I want to make, is that even when Bitcoin markets are rallying, yes, there's a ton of money to be made. But when the markets are crashing, there's equally a lot of money to be made. Guys, all you have to do is one of 2 things. Very simple. You short the market at the top and cover your position at the bottom. So let's say you opened a short position up here somewhere. You open that short position and you write it down and you close it down here somewhere around the bottom down here. And then you make money on the difference right there. You pay back people's Bitcoin that you borrowed to make that short. Then you make money on your own. And another thing you can do is, of course, is look for these bottoms down here, buy, and then ride the wave all the way up and then sell up here somewhere. Very, very simple, guys. I know I'm talking in cliches here. I'm basically saying buy low, sell high, short high, cover low. And that's exactly what I think I need to say in this video, because I think even though it's so obvious, a lot of people forget that there is a lot of money to be made in bear markets, even if there isn't a lot of bullish price action. That's why I've said in recent videos that it's not about which way Bitcoin is moving that determines how much money you can make in a market. It's actually about how volatile the market is. And that's one thing that we've seen increase over the last couple of months, is that Bitcoin had basically no volatility over here. I mean, we were seeing like 1% and 2% moves. A big move was a 4% move right there. Look at that. That's nothing. That is absolutely nothing. But now we're seeing much larger moves. Just a couple of days ago, now we haven't seen a whole lot happen in the last week, but over the last couple of days, we saw a 10% move right here. That kind of volatility is what you need to make money off of, whether you're buying low, selling high, or shorting high and selling low, or shorting high and covering low, excuse me. So that's one of the first points I wanted to make, is that even though we're in a bear market, and even though it may seem that Bitcoin has crashed and that Bitcoin may never recover, which of course is going to, because Bitcoin is cyclical and Bitcoin is a great technology which is going to revolutionize the world. You guys know that. I don't need to go evangelizing and preaching to the choir here. But the point I'm trying to make is that even though Bitcoin is down, you don't have to wait for 2 or 3 years for a new Bitcoin bull market to start making money. There's all kinds of money to be made in a bear market if you know where to look. I have the CryptoJeb Discord server. There's a link to join in the description down below if you want to head over there. There are about 1,700, 1,800 people in the Discord server, which is incredible and very humbling and ridiculous, and wow, those are the words I can say for that. But the point I was trying to make is that in that Discord server, you talk to some really interesting people, and there are several people over there who are making thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars in this bear market, shorting with leverage and longing with leverage and just doing all kinds of crazy things in the market and investing for the long term. That's another thing I advocate for. There are a lot of people making a ton of money in this bear market. So like I said, the first point I wanted to make is that just because we're in a bear market doesn't mean that you can't make any money. There's a lot of money to be made in a bear market. It's not about the market. It's about your mindset. And I've said that for many a moon, and I've said that about many different things. It's always about your mindset. People are making money in this market, so if you can't make money in this market, that's not the market's fault, that's your fault. And I'm only saying that because I love you guys. You have to understand when it's you and when it's not the market. If it is the market, then it's the market. But if you can understand that people are making money in a market and you're not making money in a market, well then, which one's the common denominator, the market or you? Well, it's you. So that's not an insult on anyone. That is absolutely not an insult on anyone. These things are very difficult. I'm not trying to insult anyone. Very hard. Don't take that personally. I'm just saying that if you want to learn how to make money in this market, then there is money to be made. You just have to go out there and do it. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next point, and that is the fact that, or my opinion anyway, that's well substantiated, that a new Bitcoin bull market is coming. Because while there is a lot of money to be made in the Bitcoin bear market, even though there's a lot of money to be made in the Bitcoin bear market, I'm not gonna come out here and say that it's easier to make money in a Bitcoin bear market. Of course, it's easier to make money in a bull market, and I think we would all agree, especially if you guys were here for the 2017 bull market like I was, that bull markets are quite a bit more enjoyable than bear markets because everybody's happier. There's progress being made. Technology is being adopted. We're seeing Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in the news more. It seems like things are going the right direction for the market, and not only in a monetary dollar value, but also in the sense that technological progress is being made, adoption is being made, retail adoption is being made. Excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. Technological adoption is being made. All those things are being made, and bull markets are generally more fun than bear markets. So let's go ahead and talk about why I believe a bull market is coming in the next couple of years. And I'm going to be brief here because that was basically the topic of yesterday's video. So if you guys haven't already watched yesterday's video, I do highly encourage you to go watch that. I covered several different technicals based on the 2014-15 bear market that point to a new bull market starting in the next 12 to 18 months. So I'm going to kind of talk about some things that I didn't talk about in that video rather than just restating what I said in yesterday's video. And there are several different things I want to talk about here. One of them has to do with the fact that markets are cyclical. This is something that I talked about a couple weeks ago, and this is something that I talked about earlier in this video also, is that markets are in fact cyclical. Markets go bullish and markets go bearish. That's something we talk about in the bull markets and the bear markets video, the bull and bear markets video in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. Remember, there's a 20% off coupon code for today only down there. But that's something I talk about in that course, is that bull markets and bear markets are cyclical. You're going to see bull markets and bear markets and bull markets and bear markets. It's like a wave. If you come over here and you look at an older market, like the S&P 500, one of the largest indexes on the planet, then one of the largest stock indexes on the planet, I should specify, then you're going to see that the market works it's cyclical. We see that the market goes bullish, and then the market goes bearish, and then it goes bullish, and it goes bearish, and it goes bullish. And hopefully, but maybe not, it's going to go bearish. But we're going to see what happens there. That's not the point. The point here is that markets are cyclical, and markets do repeat themselves. Markets will do that. And if we look back at 2014 on into 2018, then it's pretty obvious that there were 4 years between all-time high, right here and right over here. A very simple extrapolation, we could come here and we could drag a little line right here. We could do this, and then we can extrapolate when we might see a next all-time high. We could see a next all-time high based on this in like late 2022. Now, that is a very, very poor way to do technical analysis. There's a lot more that goes into it than that, so don't just go thinking that I'm calling a Bitcoin all-time high on like January the 2nd, 2022 because of that. But my point is here is that we can get kind of a rough estimate of when we might be expecting a new all-time high, or at least when we might be in a new bull market, based on the fact that it took us about 4 years to go from one all-time to another back over here in 2014 and on into 2018. Markets are cyclical. Bitcoin is an amazing technology, and it is going to recover. There are a lot of different things I can get into with that, but I also want to kind of close this video out by talking about Bitcoin. Because if you guys are in the cryptocurrency market, you're in the market for one of two reasons, and hopefully you're in the market for both reasons. You're in the market because you want to make a ton of money. I mean, I'm just going to say that's why a lot of us are here. We love the technology. I do love the technology. That's one of the main reasons I'm here. But of course, we also want to make money. That's why we're in markets. That's not because we're greedy. That's just because we want to make money. I mean, everybody's got to make money so you can feed yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in that. You want to make money. And there's a lot of money to be made in Bitcoin. You're here for a good reason if that's your reason. Now, be careful about making Bitcoin your only job. I've always warned people against that unless you're really good at it and have a lot of capital. But it's understandable for people who want to be here because of the money. And then there's people that are here because of the technology. And there are people that are here for both. And that is what I would consider the vast majority of us. There are people that are here for the tech, like maybe Vitalik Buterin, who's here for the technology, and perhaps he doesn't really care all that much about the money. Perhaps he doesn't really care all that much about the fame. He said before that he wished he hadn't have come out. And if you don't know, Vitalik Buterin is the creator of Ethereum. But, and there are a lot of people that are here for the money, and I can't really think of an example off the top of my head of someone who's here for the money and not at all for the technology, because that's not really something that someone will want to put on the internet, because they'd probably get a mob after them. But the point is here is that you're here for two reasons. You're here to make money, and you're here for the technology. And what you have to realize is that just because Bitcoin's gone into a bear market, and just because the technological development of Bitcoin has slowed, does not mean that the fundamentals of Bitcoin are any weaker. Let me say that again. Just because Bitcoin's price action has gone down, and just because the technological development of Bitcoin has slowed, not as much as the market has, mind you, the technological development of Bitcoin is still going because people understand what I'm about to say. Just because these two things have slowed, the price action, that was a terrible S, the price action and the T, the tech, just because these things have gone down does not mean that Bitcoin is screwed. That does not mean that Bitcoin is just dead. That does not mean that Bitcoin is never going to recover. This is something that I see so many people having trouble with. they say, okay, well, Bitcoin's price action is going down. Bitcoin's technological development is slowing down. There's not as much good news for Bitcoin. That one ETF got declined. Crap. That's kind of the motto of this whole video, is just crap. And they say crap, and then they're not able to see the forest through the trees and understand that that is what has to happen for Bitcoin to become developed. You must be for a human being to develop into a grown adult, into someone who's mature, they have to go through pain. They have to go through suffering because they have to learn. And a market is exactly the same. For a market to mature, the market every once in a while has to go through a bear market, one, to weed out the people that don't belong here, because I could tell you from experience that there are a lot of people in this market who are no longer in the market because they were not strong enough. They did not have the grit. They did not have the iron gut that it takes to withstand something like the 2018 bear market. And you are not one of those people because you're still here listening to this video. But there are plenty of people who left the market because they didn't believe in Bitcoin, and they didn't have the patience, they didn't have the fortitude, they didn't have the grit, the gut, they didn't have the iron will to stay and stick through it and see the forest through the trees and realize that just because Bitcoin is going down, that's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. Bitcoin needs bear markets. It's very important for markets to go bearish. It's very important that markets are cyclical. If they weren't like that, then Bitcoin would be rallying to the moon, would be worth $100,000 right now, and then would crash straight to the floor and disenfranchise hundreds of thousands of people, get Bitcoin banned across many different countries, and it would be an absolute explicit. It would not be a good thing. It would be very, very bad. Markets must go bearish. They have to go bearish. Bear markets are essential for the strength of a market in the long term. And when you understand that, and when you realize that not only does the price action and the technology and the technological development slowing, not only is that not a bad thing, that's actually a good thing for Bitcoin if you have the patience to see it through to the end. You realize that all the suffering that you've gone through in the last couple of months, in the last 12, 13, 14 months, if you've been here from all-time high, let's say you bought in at exactly the all-time high and you're still holding down here. Well, guess what? You may have lost a lot of money, but you gained something far more important. You gained character. You gained the ability to be patient. You gained the ability to have fortitude and an iron gut, that grit, that willpower, that ability to hold on to something even when you didn't think it was going to succeed, because somewhere deep inside you, you know that it will anyway. You learned a lot through that lost value, and if you're still here, you're here for a reason, and you realize that the market's going to do great things in the future. You just have to have that patience to see it through to the end. If you guys are like me and you've been here for literally the entire bear market, you're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. What, you think I'm going to go somewhere? I'm not going anywhere, dude. I love Bitcoin. Bitcoin is going to go to the freaking moon, and Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency that it is built on, Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency technology, the blockchain industry, it's going to revolutionize the world. I know I've said that a lot. I know that a lot of people have said that a lot. I know that it's cliched, but some things are cliched because they're true. Work hard's a cliche, but if you don't work hard, you're not going to get anywhere in life. And Bitcoin is going to do great things, and I do truly believe that, and that's why I'm still here. Tell me in the comment section down below why you guys are still here, because I know you're still here, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video. And if you are still here watching to the end of this video, definitely consider dropping a like. I snuck that in, didn't I? Anyway, guys, I was really just... I've seen so many people getting concerned about the Bitcoin bear market. I've seen so many people being worried that Bitcoin's not going to recover, or saying, oh, well, Bitcoin's going to go down to like $500 or so. And I know a lot of you are going to say, oh, well, Jeb, you said like a couple weeks ago that you want Bitcoin to go to $500. One, I was exaggerating, and two, it was kind of a silly video anyway. My point here is that Bitcoin is not going to die. Bitcoin has a very long future ahead of it. If you have the patience to see it through to the end, then you are going to be one of the victors at the end. Warren Buffett once said that markets are a tool to transfer wealth from the impatient to the patient. And by the way, if you don't know who that is, he's one of the richest people on the planet. He's worth like $90 billion. I'm gonna go ahead and take his advice on what he says about markets, because I'm sure he knows more about it than I do. Anyway, guys, that is basically going to do it for today's video. If you're interested in learning how to do technical analysis, because today's video was about the mindset of being in markets. It was about the ability to stay in a market and see something through to the end. That's so important for markets, and it's so important for the real world also. But also, I mean, every once in a while, you got to get down in the dirt and you actually have to trade and invest in cryptocurrencies. And it's really important that you understand how to do technical analysis on markets. And if you're interested in learning how to do technical analysis while also helping to support the channel, click the link in the description, head on over to the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, and use the coupon code Valentine's Day 2018 and 2019, and you'll actually be getting 20% off the course. There's an apostrophe between the E and the S in Valentine's Day. Go ahead and copy paste that code, and you will get 20% off the course for the rest of today only. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. I do want to thank each and every single one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!